Dan Illman, Matt Birney are kicking off a $300,000 guaranteed 50-cent pick four at Pimlico on Black-Eyed Susan Friday with race number 8. The Grade 3 Miss Preakness Stakes for 3-year-old fillies. $150,000 is the purse. Remember this deal with DRF Bet. Sign up for an account at bets.drf.com. Deposit $100, bet with $250. Let's meet this full field of filly speedsters getting set to go 3/4 of a mile to kick off this $300,000 guaranteed 50-cent pick four. Matt, the number 2, Covfefe. 2 for 3 lifetime. Confusing performance perhaps in the Frisette when they tried to stretch her out to a 1-turn mile in only her second lifetime start. She caught the good jaywalk that day. She is fast. She is drawn inside in a race where there are several other speeds.
Well, I mean, really, that's to me what it boils down to. She's won both of her races where she's been out on the lead impressively. That most recent run at Keeneland, the only problem, or I shouldn't say the only problem, but the big knock is the field has just come back absolutely dreadful. I know there's a next stop winner in there with a 71 buyer, but you got horses with buyers ranging between 57 and 5. Not a spectacular field. She's going to be speed, probably nearest the rail, but boy, there's going to be some other gas in here. If she wins gate to wire, she's going to have to earn it.
One of those other horses that might be close to the pace is the 6, Never Enough Time, who has never been headed in 2 lifetime starts for trainer Michael Trombetta. Both blowout victories at Laurel against weaker competition. So she's going to step up in class, but she is so lightly raced, I'm sure we have not seen her best. The question is, how will she deal with the pace heat? I'm assuming that she's going to have to go faster than ever before in the early portion of this race.
And against better horses too, that sort of double whammy that she's going to have to deal with. Is she good enough to be able to overcome that? I suppose a good thing that she has as a feather in her cap, as opposed to some of these other girls. Looks like there might be some weather in the forecast on Friday. She's already won over a muddy sealed track. So I agree with you. She's going to have to answer some questions, but it's hard to argue the talent so far.
Another undefeated filly is the number 11, Fighting Mad. Gary and Mary West homebred by New Year's Day. No wonder they're fighting mad. And Fighting Mad at least has shown a little bit of versatility in 2 starts for trainer Bob Baffert. She won her debut over the summer at Del Mar, then went away for a long time. She came back at Churchill Downs, and I like the way she won that non-winners at 2 Life. Maybe it wasn't the strongest field in the world, but she sort of just bulled her way to the outside on the backstretch, pulled herself up into a contending position, and I like that she had to work in her first start of the layoff. It wasn't easy. Nothing was handed to her. She worked hard. She draws outside the other speeds in here. I would expect a good performance despite the fact she's stepping up in class, and it's Baffert, which means she gets bet.
The other thing that you want to keep in mind, that run at Churchill, that was against open company, older horses anyway. I shouldn't say open company, against older horses. It was the N2L ranks. But I like the fact that off of such a long layoff, she comes back and basically runs something similar to what she did in the debut. And let's be honest, that debut effort, that's probably good enough to win in a spot like this. That outer draw, I think she works at a beautiful trip sitting off the speeds, probably gets first run on the deep closers. You got to view her as a major win contender.
Timeform US agrees with your pace assessment as we take a look at the pace projector. Again, a red bar situation. We are expecting a fast pace. There are some fast fillies in here. Covfefe, the 2. Please flatter me, the 4. And there's the 11, Fighting Mad, perched out 3 wide after the opening quarter mile, perhaps ready, as you say, to get the jump on the closers. Please flatter me won the Gin Talking Stakes at Laurel to close out her 2-year-old campaign. She showed big speed in that race, and I thought she acquitted herself quite well when they tried to stretch her out to the 1-turn busher at Aqueduct, where she was up and on the pace throughout, and she was just run down late. She's turning back in distance here. I think the turn back in distance works for her. The question is, can she deal with the heat of Covfefe, the 11, and several others?
Yeah, that's my big concern at this point. Has she shown the ability to sit off of a target and be as effective? But at the same time, I do look at that busher and say, for a moment, she was actually poking ahead in front. And I think the distance might have gotten to her at the end of that. That was a decent enough field. We've had some fillies come out of that race and earn mid-70 buyers. I don't love her in here, but I can understand folks that want to make a case for her.
Wesley Ward keeps the faith with the number 1, Iva, coming off a 2. Yes, a 2 buyer speed figure in the Grade 3 Beaumont last time out. But that race was over a sealed, sloppy track, and she had some traffic issues that day. Here is a positive formulator fact for Ward backers that want to keep the faith. Over the past 2 years, with 3-year-old dirt sprinters going second off the bench in graded stakes races, 44% winners, 15 of 18 on the board, 370 ROI. This filly doesn't need the lead. I just wish she wasn't down inside.
I was going to say it's a brutal position to be in down on the rail. You figure even with the other speeds that are going to be naturally faster than her, everyone's going to be trying to get over and save some ground at some point. My other thing that I have a hard time getting past, not so much the two Beyer, but her only wins really, or her best wins anyway, synthetic and turf thus far. I think maybe there's a chance that she's better on a different surface.
If this pace falls apart, you might not want to count out the 10. Bye Jay, who has already won 4 times in her career. Now, I know that recent race against fellow Arkansas breds did not come back fast. They weren't going fast early. Maybe that affected the final time, but she couldn't have won that race any easier, Matt. And 3 back, she popped an 86 Beyer that would make her real tough in this race.
I picked her second in here. I think she's got a big chance. I'm drawing a line. I don't want to say I'm drawing a line through the Purple Martin, but boy, that race has come back very, very impressive. The winner we saw absolutely air on Kentucky Oaks Day. That was break even. And the other reason that I want to give her the benefit of the doubt for that run 2 starts back, the 1-2-3 finishers, Tomlin, who's also in this race, was in that one as well. They all ran 1-2-3 all the way around the track. So I'm going to give her a little bit of a pass for that because I don't think anybody was really making up any ground. You draw a line through that, she really hasn't done anything wrong throughout her career. I think she's interesting in a spot like this. Again, picked her second.
In the Black-Eyed Susan preview, we talked about how the 3-year-old fillies in New York might not be the best in terms of quality this year, and I'm feel the same way about the sprinters. Miss Cicada, I was disappointed in her race in the Ruthless 2 starts back when she couldn't handle Ujawi, I think a Penn National shipper that basically rode the rail throughout. Last time out in the Cicada, she was 6-5. She sat right off the duel. She cruised up to make the lead, and she still couldn't get it done. She is consistent. She goes out for a very good trainer in Jason Service, but she's going to have to do a little bit better, I think, against this field.
Yeah, and there's also a part of me that wonders, these 3 runs most recently, and even if you want to go back to the runs at the end of her 2-year-old year, I don't think we've seen a tremendous amount of improvement. I think she's kind of running the same race time and time again. Maybe she can take a big jump forward here. She's been gone for a couple months, but there's a part of me that says, sure, she's going to work out a good trip, but she needs to improve by leaps and bounds to be competitive, I think.
Tomlin took on Bellafina, one of the best 3-year-old fillies in the country, a couple of times to no avail in Southern California. They shipped her east. She ran pretty well in her first start out of the West Coast. In the Purple Martin Stakes, she actually finished ahead of Bye Jay. That was a race that produced 3 next out winners, and the winner of that race, Break Even, just blitzed him in the 8 bells to the tune of a 94 Beyer.
Yeah, and I'm basically just going to echo everything I spoke about with Bye Jay. I think, look, Tomlin, she ran well that day, but she was one of those 3 horses up front that they just went 1, 2, 3 all the way around. If she runs back to that effort, she certainly has a chance in here. I personally prefer Bye Jay over Tomlin, though.
The 12 Midnight Fantasy is a 4-time winner, and she has won from slightly off the pace in the past. She scored in a little stakes race at Mahoning Valley most recently over a pair of minor next out winners. Blinkers come on here off the win. I usually like to think if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but obviously this filly is still a little green.
Well, I was going to say, when you take a look at that stretch run, she felt the left-handed whip first and everything was fine. The second time she got hit, boy, she took an absolute right-hand turn. She started swapping leads, drifting all over the place. I understand the idea of putting the blinkers on, trying to get her to focus a little bit more. I think the other thing, though, that goes into it, I would imagine she's going to have to work a heck of a lot harder if she's going to win in a race like this than she did in that race at Mahoning. I'm not taking anything away from her. I think she's good, but she's going to need to run better.
The 3 Brunette Princess is a little bit slow, but if this race falls apart, I wonder if she could sneak into the bottom of your superfectors or super high fives. I thought she ran well 2 starts back. She really tried that odds-on winner, a bit of both in the stretch. She ended up finishing second best, and then she came back to dead heat for the win last time out in a race which the 4th place finisher came back to earn a 78 Beyer in her most recent start. Brunette Princess is far from a star right now and is slow on speed figures, but she might get the right setup under Johnny V.
Yeah, I think if you like this horse or you want to make a case for her, you are using the argument that the Any Limit is basically going to be a carbon copy of the Miss Preakness, where they go fast, she sits 3-4 lengths off of it, she makes her move, and she goes on and gets the job done. I agree with you. I don't love her on top, but if you're playing any of the deep exotics, I'd use her underneath. Trainer
Jeremiah Engelhardt does excellent work with long layoff horses, and I'm very curious to see what we get from the New York bred, the number 9 Sue's Fortune, who won the first 2 starts of her career, including the Grade 2 Adirondack Stakes at Saratoga before just being whipped by Jaywalk in the Grade 1 Frisette. She has been away for a long time. She has a versatile running style. I wonder if she's just going to get a race here and we're going to prep for a summer campaign.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like a very logical standpoint. I want to see what we get off of such a long layoff. And look, this is not an easy spot to be coming back in, given the fact that there are a number of talented girls in here. Sue's Fortune, I think she's fine. I think she did some good things as a 2-year-old. I'm going to wait and watch.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the Grade 3 Miss Preakness Stakes. You're going with the 5. Congrats Gal, going out for trainer Cathal Lynch. Now, this filly really stamped herself as one of the better 2-year-old fillies in the Mid-Atlantic region last year. Not only was she third in the Grade 3 Schuylerville Stakes, she won her last 2 starts at Laurel by a combined 20 3/4 lengths, with figures as a 2-year-old comparable to some of the fillies have earned this year. If you feel that she is improved and sharp off the layoff, Congrats Gal makes a lot of sense at a price.
Yeah, really the only question for me or concern is the layoff. Given the fact that she's been gone, we haven't seen her since the beginning of November. Is she going to be ready to go in a spot like this? But look, I liked her in her second lifetime starting the Schuylerville. I thought it was an educational run. Don't think she was totally embarrassed in there. I was a little disappointed with that little stakes race at Delaware, but then in hindsight, you look, she lost the Jaywalk, who ended up winning the Breeders' Cup. So I'm not going to, hold that one against her. And you brought up those last 2 races. I thought she was tremendous in that Smart Halo. I think if she runs anything close to that, she's got a giant chance in here. I love that she can sit and be effective. Again, the question is she ready to go? But boy, if that price stays at the morning line, I'm all over her.
She was 4-5 against Jaywalk that day. Again, you never know in racing. Give me numbers. That's a nice pick.
5, 10, 11, 12.
I want to give this Baffert horse a chance, Fighting Mad. I think she trips out, as you mentioned. I think just from the way this race and pace scenario is going to play out, Kafefi's going to go, someone's going to go with her, and Fighting Mad's going to sit third under Flo, who's going to attack on the turn. We'll see if she's good enough. This is the big class test in her very short career. I'm going 11, 12, 2, and 8 in the Grade 3 Miss Preakness Stakes. It kicks off a $300,000 guaranteed 50-cent pick 4, which ends with the Black-Eyed Susan, which also coincidentally kicks off a $300,000 guaranteed 50-cent pick 4. Get involved with a DRF Bets account. Deposit $100. Bet this great card with $250. Bets.drf.com is where you go for all the details. Approximate post time for the Miss Preakness, 3:13 Eastern. Good luck.